Welcome to PFPod, the podcast where you break down the action, strategy, and excitement of robotics competitions like FIRST and beyond.
From last-minute fixes to championship-winning plays, we're here to talk about what makes robotics more than just a competition.
Whether you're a builder, coder, driver, or just love the energy of a great event, we've got stories, insights, and maybe a few battle scars to share.
So let's gear up, dive in, and talk about the world of competitive robotics. Welcome to our pilot episode where we're going to be meeting our hosts and talking about FIRST and Purdue FIRST programs.
Hi everyone, I'm Lindsay Gorash, and I'm a sophomore here at Purdue studying electrical engineering. I'm a member of PFP and also one of your co-hosts for the PFPod, but I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I was a part of Team 13474 Mars Curiosity for 6 years now.
Hey everybody, my name is Max Greenberg. I'm studying mechanical engineering here at Purdue. On PFP, I'm one of the events directors, and I've been involved in FIRST since 2018 as a member of FRC Team 5338 back in Virginia.
All right, everyone. And my name is Sam Zancy. I am an industrial engineering senior at Purdue. I am also the PFP president and your final PFPod co-host. When I was a FIRST student, I was on FRC 3176 Purple Precision, which is based out of Brownsburg, Indiana, just west of Indianapolis. I am also the former president of the FIRST Student Board of Directors, and I've been involved in FIRST as an organization since 2017. So what is FIRST? FIRST stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology. And FIRST Robotics is a global nonprofit organization that provides programs for students in grades K through 12. The programs are designed to inspire students to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, and math.
FIRST is broken down into 3 branches. We have FIRST Lego League, which is elementary and middle school aged students. And then we have FIRST Tech Challenge, which is for 7th through 12th graders. And then we have FIRST Robotics Competition, and that's for high schoolers.
And Max and I were involved in FRC, which is FIRST Robotics Competition.
And I did FTC.
Yeah, so we've got different levels of FIRST in the pod, too. Yeah, Max, you want to explain a little bit more about how FIRST works?
Yeah, so at the beginning of the season, a game gets announced where students kind of have a challenge they have to design a robot to accomplish. And they work for a period of time, design the robot, and then at the end, they get to go to different competitions where teams come throughout the state and area and can compete with the robot and meet different people.
That's my personal favorite part of the season right there.
Yeah, me too. I think it's like, I love when people describe it as like a sports event meets like giant party meets like nerd fest. I feel like it's like the perfect trifecta of all 3 of those things.
So yeah, and they get the speakers going, the screens up. You've got game announcers introducing your team and the crowd's hyping you up. It's the best part of the season for sure.
Yeah. So with that, I know FIRST is, if you don't know what FIRST is, it's kind of a big, scary thing. So I feel like each of us should kind of go around and talk about what FIRST means to us.
Yeah, I guess I'll start off. So FIRST to me really means getting to put your heart and soul into something that you work months on. You put everything you've got into this, and then you get to go to competition and compete it and see all that hard work. And you get to be competitive, but also celebrate everyone else because they also have put just as much work in to be in that competition with you.
To me, FIRST kind of allows students to take all the stuff they learned in the classroom and actually put into practice in like a real life engineering environment.
Yeah. I think for me, FIRST was very much like an outlet where I used things that I learned in the classroom, like you were kind of saying, and got to be able to apply them. I think also for me, as somebody that didn't have a lot of a technical background at home, FIRST to me meant the opportunity to figure out what I wanted to do for the rest of my life and learn about STEM and the skills that you learn, and also how STEM blends with the real world and like a very practical and cool application. So with that, the way that I got involved in FIRST is that I started my freshman year of high school. I did not have any engineers on either side of my family when I started out in FIRST. I knew that I liked STEM. I knew that I liked STEM subjects. I knew I wanted to apply that in my career, but didn't really know what that meant. And so I got involved at FIRST because of friends actually in band convinced me to join robotics. So I was like in a little like bunch of nerd involved activities. But I loved my time in FIRST. I started with designing and CAD and actually planning the mechanisms that grow in the robot. And then I ended up working as our project manager for our team. And instead of focusing on actually building the robot, I was focusing on how does the building of the robot, but with the programming, but with the electrical and the business, and making sure we're getting our outreach in there as well. And so getting to kind of see full picture, and that projected me to the career that I'm at today.
So you talked about like being able to experience different things and figure out what you want to do. And I kind of have a very similar story to that. So I got started in FIRST back in 7th grade. I guess in 6th grade, my brother was on a team, and then the FTC team got dissolved. And so I had wanted to join a robotics team, and there was nothing in our area. So my brother and I, with my mom's guidance, started a team, and now we have Mars Robotics. But one of the biggest benefits that I took away from being in robotics all that time is being able to try out different things. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I went everything from being an astronaut to graphic designing to potentially wanting to be a teacher. First really gave me the chance to try it out. I got to try out CADing the robot. I got to try out software. Two things I learned aren't my favorite, but I did eventually find exactly what I like. I like the electrical side of things, but also I did outreach for like 4 years and I loved it. Getting to talk to people in the technical field, but translating what we do as students and all that effort we put in.
That's my favorite too, is like, I think coming from a non-technical background at home, having then the skills to be able to communicate was like super huge for me.
Honestly, yeah, that's like one of the biggest takeaways from First. I mean, like, you learn how to talk to people in your judging interviews, and you learn how to put together a presentation and work with your team. But at the end of the day, you're talking to sponsors, you're talking to judges, you're talking to parents, you're talking to mentors. That's the biggest skill. I think that's helped me time and time again.
I definitely agree, Lindsay. I think the biggest takeaway from First for me was just kind of being able to communicate with all sorts of different people. I kind of got involved similar to how Sam did. At the beginning of my freshman year, I was kind of looking for an activity to join, and I came across our local FIRST robotics team at my high school, and I kind of got involved with the mechanical side of things, designing the robot, manufacturing different stuff, and then got kind of later on towards the end of my time with my first team, I was actually kind of in charge of the mechanical sub team, and definitely did more kind of project management stuff, working with the electrical sub team and the programming sub team, and kind of managing budget and stuff like that kind of thing. So kind of taking your technical background and transitioning more to the project management side of thing, which is kind of very similar to a lot of engineers in industry that gets a very similar path. So kind of getting that kind of real life experience in a high school level in a kind of setting where it's like okay to fail, kind of was a really great opportunity to kind of be able to kind of get ready to try and join the workforce once I graduate.
Yeah, I think for me, also very much like knowing what-ish type of engineering I wanted to go into when I got to college. I had a lot of friends that ended up like changing their major or thinking a type of engineering was one thing and then going for another later on. And I think doing First really helped me narrow down what aspects of engineering I was passionate about before I even got to school, which I'm really thankful for.
Yeah, it for sure saved me a ton of time and headaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of peers were definitely kind of debating, oh, well, do I want to go into civil? Do I want to go into industrial engineering? Kind of stuff like that. But I was pretty much dead set on mechanical from the get-go after my experience kind of playing around with First.
So with that, one of the things that we do a lot as First alumni is volunteer at events. We want to talk to you guys a little bit about what we do at events. So Lindsay, do you want to go ahead and talk about how you do when you
Yeah, so my personal favorite thing to do at an event is to be the MC or game announcer. I just think it's so fun. First is an environment that is so positive and welcoming, and everyone's doing their best and having a great time. And I like to be a part of that energy and helping to get to create that. But I'd also like being able to translate the technical stuff that's happening on the field for audiences, parents, and school people who may or may not be as familiar with it. I enjoy getting to bring that to them. And so, yeah, volunteering is got to be the biggest component of being an alumni for me. I mean, mentoring's huge as well, but I love to volunteer and get to see that competition environment.
Yeah, I really love to see all the students firsthand. So that's kind of why my favorite role is actually queuing, because I'm able to walk around the pits, kind of talk to different teams, kind of get to know the robots, different stuff like that, while also not having a super high pressure role. So kind of be able to get around and kind of talk to all these different people while getting in your steps, which is one of my favorite parts as well.
Yeah, Max is like the acclaimed lean chewer of like First at the events.
So I really like to kind of walk around, have my little clipboard. So always a good time. How about you, Sam? What do you kind of like to get doing?
I'm the exact same as Lindsay. I love being on talent teams, so emceeing or game announcing. I think that you then are in charge of and responsible for the atmosphere and the experience that students and mentors are having at the event. And that is something that I love being able to provide. I think also as MC game announcer, you sometimes get to wear like fun outfits or accessories.
Yes.
You know, like the earrings, or the I'm thin enough shirts. Yeah, oh yes, the fun colored pants. Like there's so many ways to provide that atmosphere to the event to help the students. I think a lot of the times when I think about First students, it's a lot of students, I know at least for me personally and on my team too, low self-confidence, like maybe not as extroverted, don't like have as many opportunities to share the things that they're passionate about. And I think on talent team, you get the chance to like bring all these kids that are not often like out of their shell.
And a big component of that I feel like is you're also then like a beacon of light for kids who I really enjoy seeing people who don't fit your stereotypical role of like nerdy robot kid. I love to see people like, you know, breaking that boundary, because then that is inspiration for younger kids who may feel that way and want to express how they feel, but they're too scared because they don't fit that stereotypical mold.
Yeah, I think when I first went to a first event, it was crazy to me how much glitter was involved at a first event. From being in hair to being on tutus to being on the robot, like it's a fun environment for sure. So with that, the way that we volunteer is through PFP. Max, you want to talk a little bit about how you got involved in PFP and that journey?
Yeah, for those who don't know, Purdue FIRST Programs is kind of an alumni organization here on Purdue's campus where a bunch of different FIRST alumni and other people who are just passionate about FIRST and robots get involved to kind of try to help out the FIRST community. So I actually got involved because once I graduated high school, I knew I wanted to kind of keep along in the FIRST community and kind of give back to how much I was able to grow from the program. So when I got to campus, I was at the club fair and I actually saw our booth and I was able to kind of get involved and learned about all the things we do, and actually ended up joining the club and was able to volunteer and do different things in terms of event planning to really kind of able to kind of give back to that FIRST community.
Yeah, I think for me too, very similarly, my journey in PFP has been, I've gotten to do a lot of different cool roles and wear a lot of different hats. I think the way that I started in PFP was very similar to Max. I knew I wanted to stay involved in the FIRST community. And my senior year, I was involved in the FIRST Indiana Student Board of Directors, and we actually did like a co-event with PFP, and getting to meet all those people and figure out that there's ways besides just volunteering that you can stay involved with the FIRST community and have a community of, I think it's so interesting too, because as an engineering student at Purdue, sometimes I talk about FIRST and people don't know what I'm talking about. And it's cool to have somewhere to go where something that I'm so passionate about, everybody around me knows what I'm talking about too. And so I think being able to spread FIRST's message was a big reason why I got involved in PFP, and continuing to make sure that, like, I'm big on the advocacy. So making sure that students have access to the same opportunities that I did, and making sure that people are educated on why K through 12 STEM education is so important. So that's kind of why I got into events and then moved into the president role and get to do a lot more of that outreach to like Purdue and FIRST Indiana and build those relationships, because making sure that students are able to have those experiences both at a student and at an alumni level is very important to me.
My experience with PFP is similar to Sam's, that I was involved before I even stepped foot on campus. I was from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's 6 hours from here, if you're not familiar, and which is a long way. But when I had mentioned that I was going to Purdue, my coach back home actually said, I'm pretty sure there's an alumni network there. And so there I go on Google, Purdue FIRST, and there they pop up. And so I had already emailed them before I even stepped foot on campus, because I did FIRST for 6 years. That was my bread and butter. I put my everything into it. So I was very nervous to go from having my community and something that was like my passion project. I was really nervous to transition into college and be like, okay, what do I do now? So I had actually reached out the summer before I even got to college, and I said, hey, how do I join? How do I get involved? And I think a big thing is FIRST is consistent internationally. I mean, everyone plays the same game. It's got the same rules, no matter what city you're in, what language you're speaking. And I found a lot of comfort in that, it's a big transition from high school to college, and having that, okay, like, I'm in a new state, I'm in a new place. I don't know anyone, but man, I still know the rules of FIRST. I still know how to build a robot.
Right.
And I think that was huge. And one of the reasons I stuck around is because it's like home from home now.
It's so awesome that you kind of got involved with PFP before actually coming to college. I guess someone watching where they want to get involved with PFP, how do they kind of go about doing that?
Yeah, I think the main way to get involved through PFP is we have a lot of like tabling events and club fairs at the beginning of the school year, allowing us to get involved and come to our call out, stuff like that. Once you do join the organization, there's a bunch of different ways that you can get involved. The two main sides of our organization are our events and event planning and media, and then we've got our mentoring side. So Max, do you want to talk a little bit about the event side?
Yeah, so I'm actually the current events director for PFP, so we're responsible for planning all the different events we put on, with the biggest one being our off-season competition, Boiler Bat Battle. So that's an event that we hold in the beginning of the year in the fall, where FRC teams from around the area, Indiana, some Illinois, just general Midwest, come to Purdue's campus or a little bit offside of that, and have an off-season competition where they can practice, test out the robot, test out new drive teams, kind of experience that first competition. I know that was really helpful for me when I was a freshman on my team. When I was joining in the fall, I was able to go to an off-season competition and kind of get a feel for it first before actually jumping into my first build season. So kind of being able to plan that event and kind of put that on for those students is definitely really rewarding.
Yeah, and I think the other side of our organization is mentoring. So I also was formerly events director, so I know that side of the org a lot better. But from what I mentored a little bit in FLL and a little bit in FTC, and that is actually going out to the schools and working with the students in a one-on-one way and helping them build their robots program, work on their outreach, help them figure out what FIRST means to them. I think it's a big thing for me to be able to go and give back and make sure that they're able to have that experience as well. And Purdue FIRST Programs, we mentor from 4th graders to 12th graders. So there's a lot of different opportunities and a lot of different ways to get involved. But the mentorship side is really cool because you get to see a lot of that student growth up close and personal, which I think is,
and you get to see them like throughout the season. So I think that's like one of the coolest parts is you get to see those teams developing and get to go with them throughout their season.
do you want to talk a little bit about volunteering and like,
Oh yeah. For me, volunteering is my personal favorite part of being in PFP. I think it's awesome. And the fact that I get to be a part of it, be a part of FIRST while I'm still in college is awesome. So the way that it works here at PFP is PFP goes to specific Finn, Indiana robotics events, and we have a PFP presence, but there's always people going to ones that PFP is not going to. So you really get the chance to go to any of them throughout the season.
and I like it because they throw us in key volunteer roles too. Like I feel like a lot of PF people, we call ourselves PF people, by the way. I don't know if we've gone over that, but I feel like a lot of PF people play like a key role in the event, which I think is so fun as well.
And it's nice for like students who have never really been in key roles to kind of be able to get that chance to shadow and know people in those key roles, ask questions and learn from them.
Yeah, I think one of the best parts of volunteering is being able to network with all these different people who are in the industry. Like a lot of people volunteering have different jobs and different things. So I love kind of just asking them questions, kind of getting to know them. So maybe later down the line, I have a connection that I can reach back to and kind of say, hey, I volunteer with you. Do you have a job?
Yeah, some people have gotten jobs that way. I know I have some good stories about PFP and like traveling as a volunteer. So do we want to get into our favorite FIRST and PFP memories?
Yes.
I can go first. So I think a favorite PFP memory of mine is my sophomore year traveling to the Indiana State event. I think we had like 12 people go, but it was like an hour and a half away. Max was in my car, and it was me and our treasurer and a couple other like freshmen at the time. And it was just like everybody that went from PFP, like the vibe I feel like of that event was like absolutely electric. We like low-key, there were some shenanigans going on, like just hanging out. We played volley cube, which was like, I don't know if you guys remember the charged up like purple cubes. We would like bat those around during like the big breaks of the day. And that was a really big thing for us. And that I just had a blast that weekend. I thought it was so fun.
Funny you said that because that was going to be my favorite PFP memory. I was actually doing the Instagram takeover at that event. So we did a bunch of fun different little skits with the purple cubes. I painted my nails red and blue for the different alliances. We predicted the playoff matches on our phones. That was fun. We had like a little bracket fill out, like March Madness style. That was definitely probably my favorite event I've been to.
Yeah, and I think also with that, just I think volunteering with PF people has always been a big favorite memory of mine. I think this past year at B3, that was like such a fun event. I know after planning B3 for 2 years, I finally got to sit back and like enjoy the event. I know you were probably like scrambling around, like not as much able to enjoy the day, but my role is PF promoter. So I just like sat and did the Instagram story with Gabe and like really got to sit back and enjoy like the B3 kind of went away during COVID, and so finally getting to sit back and like enjoy the like revival of the event and how much fun everybody was having. I thought that was awesome. So yeah.
Yeah, I personally just enjoy the morale around volunteering for PFP and for Finn. Like, I mean, just recently we were down in Indy for an FTC event, and we met up with the PFP Indy kids, and we went out to dinner, and there we were just having a good time. Some robot conversations, some just
Very tired of
a little bit of both, you know, and that was just awesome to me. I got to meet new people and just get back and have a great time.
Yeah. I think it's so funny because I feel like some of my favorite FIRST memories are like when I was not a student or FIRST. Like I think about it, and I definitely have some times when I was a student that I really love, but I love my time in PFP and the memories I've gotten through the org.
Yeah, volunteering is definitely a great way to kind of stay connected to FIRST once you're graduating, once you keep on getting involved without a huge time commitment, just occasionally 1 week in here and there.
Yeah, I like it a lot, and I'm really grateful for the community that we have as an organization. I think it makes it easy to travel, hanging out.
Yeah, when I was in FIRST as a student, and I was about to graduate, I was, like I said, I was there for 6 years. So that was like what I knew. And I was a little bit like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? And I remember my mentors being like, oh, you're going to have a great time. Being a first alum is awesome. Yeah. And I was like, what do you mean it's going to change? There's no way it can be as good as this, but you get there.
I was so worried that first wasn't going to be fun anymore and it was just going to be like, oh, I have to volunteer. It's absolutely 100% the opposite. I feel like it's so much more fun as a volunteer.
It's like a whole different like side of first, and you get to see like, it's so cool. So I virtually mentor teams back home, and so I get to see these kids developing their robots and their portfolios and checking in with them and stuff, and I'm like, wow, they're killing it, and I'm so excited for them. It's a different type of experience.
Yeah, when I was a student, I definitely didn't realize how much went into events and different things, kind of on the back end side of things. Like, I was kind of more focused on getting my robots to the field and playing matches, but all the stuff on the back end definitely kind of shocked me once I graduated.
You have so much more appreciation for the people that spend like 5, 10, more than that hours a week planning these events. So yeah.
And some of these people are dedicating their time and their lives every weekend. They're traveling and volunteering. And you understand. You're like, oh no, I understand why they're doing this. This is not to say that first is not awesome as a student. My personal favorite first memories are definitely as a student still, but going to Worlds as a Dean's List finalist, top notch, getting to see that level of competition. He's still one of my favorite things.
Low-key, my senior year got ruined a little bit by COVID, but I did get to present chairmans for the first time at my only competition that I went to my junior year. And that was a big thing for me. It's just like a culmination of how much work and effort I'd put into something as a student. So, do you have a favorite student memory?
I think my favorite memory as a student was actually going to Worlds my senior year, right after COVID. It was the first kind of year competition. And like, we didn't even do that great, but like barring Impact Driver to unscrew our crate from a team from Australia and just kind of getting around to meet all these cool teams I've seen on YouTube and kind of get around and network was definitely really, really cool.
Yeah, just being there. Like, so when I went, my team didn't go. I just went. And so I didn't even compete. I just, for 4 days, sat there in the stands and watched all these incredible robots, walked around the pits and met all these incredible teams from all over the world. So cool.
So with that, PFP continues to impact and do things for the FIRST community in a bunch of different ways. So one of our segments that we're going to have in this podcast is PF Plug, where we talk about the up-and-coming events of Purdue FIRST Programs. Those events are going to be listed right now.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the PF Plug. Coming up on April 19th, 2025, Purdue FIRST Programs is hosting our very own FIRST Robotics Alumni Social. This is a super fun gathering event where we will enjoy free food, FIRST-themed games, and a World Championship Einstein watch party. This is a super exciting opportunity to mingle with the FIRST and PFP communities. For more information, please find our link tree in our social medias. See you there! Now, back to the PF Pod.
Welcome back from the PF Plug. Thank you so much for listening to all our up and coming events. Lindsay, do you want to go ahead and start closing us out?
Yeah, before we end out here today, I want to intro a new segment that we're going to be trying out is the PF Portal. We want to hear from you guys. So you can submit questions, Q&As, stories, or even funny pictures of your robot in the link tree on the forum that is listed down below, as well as on our socials. We want to hear from you. Funny pictures of your robot, if it caught on fire, maybe after you put it out, things like that.
Well, PF parting is such sweet sorrow. See y'all next time.